hours NBA DFS conversation starting now, taking y'all straight up the lock. Thursday night, you get the TNT double header. A little bit wonky as far as the schedule because we have one game that's in the later window, 10 o'clock on the East Coast, 10 o'clock, 7 o'clock Saskatchewan, Canada? Maybe it's 8 o'clock local time. Was it 2 hours or 3 hours? What are we at, TJ?
Are you right now or
the difference? How far are you behind? Eastern is the standard. People talking Eastern.
Oh, I'm an hour behind Eastern.
Oh, I thought you were 2 or 3. My bad.
No.
Turns out I could not find Saskatoon on a map because Americans, we just think of you as like our hat, right? America's hat is Canada, I suppose, but it's lovely up there. I've heard good things, and the places I've been to are good times. TJ, you are not messing around. You're working double duty today. You're going to be working this show. You're working straight. You're given 2+ hours NBA DFS conversation. Will's going to join the show later on and relieve me, and I believe Kevin Roth will be holding that down, I imagine. So as far as you got the tournament takes, or you have the cash game takes, you want to switch it up? Like, what are you giving later, and what do you want to give now? Or you're just kind of like, I assume you're running your like 150. Is that what you're doing today?
I'm doing the same thing as usual. Yeah, I'm running 340 lineups, 150 in one 50-cent contest, 150 in another, and then MMEing the 20 entry max $4 and $1 one as well. I was a late scratch, late sub in for crunch time yesterday, and ended up. I did that yesterday as well. 150 max, 2 separate 50-cent contests. Finished first in one, finished second in another. So figured, you know what? We might as well run a double duty today since we're winning tournaments. We got to be here to give the takes.
What did you win yesterday? The $1? Which one did you win? Say it again.
The 50-cent one. So it was like.
But isn't there like thousands and thousands of people?
Yeah, 26,000 people in it.
Look at you.
That's the second time I've won that one in the last week and a half. It's I think I have about 8 top 10 finishes in the last week and a half in that contest.
Did we get a screenshot live? Is it up on your Twitter? I'm curious.
I didn't tweet about it just because it feels weird because like when I was playing like big FanDuel NFL dollars before buying this house, it was like I'd post a screenshot and it was like $8,000 entry fees, and right now it's like $150 entry fees, and so it just feels different. When I work my way back up to that, then I'll post the screenshots again.
You're only winning that because you got 150 lineups, and all the pros can't enter it right now. I suppose I'm sure you'll hear
both of those nights though. It would have won the 100K and the $15 one, so it's it might be time to boost it up, but you got bills. You got bills. It's tough to if you have one bad night in MMEing on the $15 contest, and all of a sudden you're down $2,000, and it's like, well, all of a sudden that's a little scarier.
Also, I don't know what your stance on it is, but like I don't play it when it's 100K to first and 300K total prize pool. And I've certainly had that moment where it's like, oh man, I guess I would have took it down, but like I can't play that kind of top heavy lineup. I build my lineups a little bit too chalky, and I don't make 150. So
that's something I've learned on DraftKings so far. I'm way better at MMEing than I am at a single entry team, and that's not the case. That wasn't the case for me this year on FanDuel. On FanDuel, it's like I'm very good at single entry, and MMEing not so much at all.
Why do you think
I've had success? I don't know. I've had a lot of success in the past. But since they shored up their pricing this year, they've been a lot quicker to adjust. When I try and like stay close to optimal and go single entry, it goes pretty well. But anytime I try the MME route, it hasn't kind of gone my way. But on DraftKings, where there's still the multitudes of players in 3K ranges and stuff like that, I just take a lot of stances on random cheap players, and it seems to go my way once or twice a week, and when it does, it's a pretty big prize pool. So I like the NBA MME style for DraftKings right now. When we were dropping a score on FanDuel, or when we had lots of people who were really cheap, there was no positional flexibility on FanDuel. That's when I was really kind of cooking over there. But this NBA season, it wasn't going as well for me over there. So I made the pivot, and it's gone very, very well since then. So
what does that pay, by the way? 50 cent taking down the 50 cent to 25,000. What's first? 5K, 10K? I don't know.
First is only 1,000.
1,000. Okay, my math is. I wasn't doing the math in my head.
Yeah. So there, it's like it's a $10,000 prize pool. 1K to first, 500 to second, 250 to third, 125 to fourth. So like it's pretty balanced out.
ROI, baby.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. But if you look at you pull up the results DB, right, and you look at all the people that max enter in the $15 contest we talked about before, 100K to first, 300K total prize pool. Out of almost everybody who's max entering is losing.
100%. Like especially because even if half of your lineups finish in the top 20%, which is very, very good, you're still losing money because you don't even double up on those teams that are finishing in the just top 20%. And so like if you're not dropping a team in the top 10, you're likely losing money.
Did you like that FanDuel scoring when you dropped it was really hard to do. I wonder, did optimizers ever kind of figure out? I guess it did, right? Like you could start something with like a 0 essentially. That's like you gotta have
I don't know if I necessarily liked it, but I do know that I was good at it, and so I have fond memories.
Yeah, it was such a weird. I understood why they did it, but if people don't remember, if you're new to NBA DFS, what FanDuel did is they locked the slate, right? The slate was locked at 7:00, 7:30. That's it. Your lineups are locked. And because of so many guys getting scratched, and for what it's worth, the NBA news, I know we complain about it. The reporting is so much better than it was 5 years ago. We get the news so much faster. And, on occasion, we get the Durant thing. Last night was goofy because Durant was a pregame.
He actually injured himself. Yeah.
Yeah. He's in a wall.
And I mean, obviously you never want to see things like that. And the fact that he's going to be out for the year is like the rest of the regulars, not official, but it sounds like they're saying it's likely he'll miss the rest of the regular season and potentially start of the playoffs. But like that news and being near my phone and ready to adjust is why I ended up coming first and third in that tournament last night, is because I ended up with 15% Terrence Ross and 45% Devin Booker. And so my top team had Terrence Ross and Devin Booker. And even though it had a snowflake next to DeAndre Hunter's name, it still ended up finishing first place.
Yeah, you had the dodge. Ingram got hurt, and Luka got hurt. Luka seems pretty serious also. What a tough night in the association, and tough night for those working at FanDuel Sportsbook and DraftKings Sportsbook. Where's my void? Ingram got hurt. It only makes sense that you're going to give me my money back.
I wasn't expecting a big night last night because I had 30% Ingram and 30% Luka. And so like Luka was only like 15% owned and I had double the field. And so I was not expecting really to do well after that. But lo and behold, being able to get to 40% Booker, 15% to Ayton and Paul, 15% Ross, that was the difference maker.
Our projection team did update. Okay, so Clarkson officially out for Utah if you missed it. Walker Kessler officially in for Utah. Big news we're monitoring today. We're going to go game by game in a second. I would say what's up to chat. What's up, chat? Hit that like button. We appreciate it. TJ would appreciate it. He's going to do something special when we hit 100 likes. I don't know what it's going to be. He'll let you know, though. TJ, you got something in the back pocket today?
I was thinking about wearing a Bo Bichette jersey. I was thinking about wearing a nice Spider-Man shirt that I got at Disney. And I thought, we got to save these things for when the Spidey bombs are loose come baseball season. I don't have, it's tough to have the same type of gimmick, you know what I mean? Because there's nothing in NBA that's like a home run is.
So you're saying Spider-Man, Spider Bombs, that's a gimmick? You're not really actually talking.
I only use that term when I'm with you because you're the one who always calls it a gimmick.
I'm a skeptic. I got to be honest. I'm not buying it.
Well, I mean, it's tough. I mean, you clearly don't understand that with great power comes great responsibility. And I have this power as the Spider-Man. And so that's why we're trying to give back to the people.
Aunt May told me that all the time. Whenever I would visit her, she just casually worked that in the conversation for no particular reason.
It was Uncle Ben, that wasn't her who said it. It was
I don't have an Uncle Ben. I had an Aunt May.
That's fair. If you actually have an Aunt May, that's a great pull. I love that.
I don't. My Uncle Ben went out for cigarettes and he never came back. So it's a sore subject. I don't want to talk about it. I'm just making this uncomfortable for no particular reason.
I mean, that's better than what happened to Spider-Man's Uncle Ben. But anyways,
spoilers. We live in a society. Come on, what are you doing?
This happened in like the 1940s or the 1960s when he was
Almost
written for the first
alive.
time.
Don Yeezy had 5% Waters. I did not get that Lindy Waters, who
that was Lindy Waters also was on that team at a 10%. I had it.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, that was a good get a pinch of because OKC, like last night was a great tournament night because it's just such a mess. The chalk was not good. We talked about it. I just I had too much Ingram for me. It was a bad night for your boy, but that's the cool thing about DFS, right? If you have a bad night, start all over again. We start from zero, brand new puzzle. As far as
we got a relatively short slate today, so we got some time for shenanigans. My phone just vibrated because I got word that maybe like one of the very best first seasons of television I have ever watched just got renewed for a second season. If you haven't seen if you haven't seen Shrinking on Apple TV, check out Shrinking. Yeah. It is just oh my gosh. Yeah, Jason Segel, Harrison Ford. It is just so unbelievable. Such a good show. Same writers, same creators as Ted Lasso, which I also have to finish watching episode 2, 3, and 4 tonight so I can write a review for the start of season 3.
You got screeners.
Yeah. It's the benefit of the other job. That's watched the entirety of Shrinking already, and then we got the first 4 episodes of Ted Lasso to write a review for. So I got a busy night tonight. 2 hours of DFS content, followed by an hour of Agents of Fandom live stream for covering The Mandalorian, and then I got to watch Ted Lasso and write a review. It's tough life.
How was the season opener, season 3? What can you say? What can you tell people, or can you say anything without any spoilers? Obviously,
I'm actually I'm legally not allowed to say anything until like after midnight Pacific tonight.
You can't even say if you liked it or not. I don't want to get.
Oh no! Reaction embargo has already dropped. So yeah, it's really good. It's like it kind of goes slow into it. You know, it takes it's a few classic Ted Lasso jokes just to weave you back into it, and you're just like, kind of seemed like they were forcing us a plot a little bit. But by 15 minutes in, it's back to regular elite content Ted Lasso. By the very end, it's hitting you in the feels like that show does. So it's pretty fantastic.
Yes, I have seen they're talking about Severance. That's a really, really good show. Apple show. Have you caught that on the Apple?
I have not watched Severance yet. No.
It'll mess with your mind for sure. I've not seen Servant, Jennifer, but I've heard good things. That Lauren Ambrose, I liked her in 6 Feet Under, one of my favorite shows from back in the day, HBO. Hey, let's talk about tonight's slate. Like you said, plenty of time. 6-gamer, plenty of time to knock this out. What are we monitoring? Who's questionable? Well, we kind of a big one as far as Utah clarifying things up. The potentially tricky thing is, the first 5 of the 6 games in the slate start within the first hour. Tip-off, 7 o'clock, right? You have a bunch of games that are always back half of the TNT doubleheader. I believe they actually shifted into this game because New York and Sacramento started the season when that was not anticipated to be a fun basketball game, but this should be a lot of fun, New York and Sacramento. As of right now, we don't know about the Brunson burner. He is questionable. If he doesn't go, that can kind of open some things up. Now, to be fair, the sites have bumped up. Quickly's no longer like a free square like he was over the weekend. He's super expensive. A lot of the pieces have adjusted, so it's not like lock and load city. But are you doing anything? I assume we'll know at some point. I feel like we're not going to get the Quickly news until after all the other games are over. Are you with me with that thought process? I don't think we're getting anything.
Yeah, I don't know about necessarily until when the games are over, but at least until when they begin. And so
that's what I meant. Yeah,
it's with his price increase. It's almost, I kind of just you know me, anytime there's these type of situations where the reward is really high, I like to play it where the guy is out, and just make sure that I can get a lot of those pieces, even if there's nobody to swap to, just because I feel like the reward is greater than the risk in a lot of these situations. But I don't really think it is today, just because of how they've been priced up. Yes, Emmanuel Quickly might put up another 50 piece, like he did 2 nights ago. And at 6,600, that's obviously phenomenal. But more than likely, his projection, if Brunson's out, will somewhere be 33 to 36 probably.
We have a
38 tops.
We have
what
a
is the
what
what
if?
if
I
on
can
it
tell you
right
what it
now?
is. What did you say? What it was? What was your guess?
I was guessing 33 to 36.
Ooh, I thought I heard 36
And
to
then I
38.
said that 38 was the max I gave. So it's 38 on DraftKings, 36 on FanDuel. Obviously that's very, very good, but it's not I need this, otherwise I'm dead. It's probably going to be similar to what Tyus Jones is. And so
That's
because of that, I think I'm playing it right now. Like maybe I'll get to a little bit of quickly. Maybe I'll get to a little bit of RJ Barrett, but as it stands right now, I think I'm going to play this as just Brunson's going to play and just get to a little bit of him, a little bit of Mitch Robb, and a little bit of Julius Randle.
If you're playing Brunson, are you like making it like 2 players in that game, like as a rule, just so you can get some flexibility in case he doesn't go?
Exactly, yes. Every lineup that has Brunson is going to be run back with 2 Kings.
Okay, there you go. So you can kind of sort of somewhat figure it out.
And that way, if Brunson's out, I can get to quickly and I can upgrade all those Kings players to somebody like an RJ Barrett or a Julius Randle or something like that.
Anything else we should kind of mention? Anything else we should highlight before we go game by game? Like you said, we have an hour before we hand it over to crunch time. Well, I hand it over to yourself and Will. Anything else we should note and kind of point out? Obviously, no Giannis today opens things up as far as Milwaukee. Well, that game looks like I don't want to say the clear and obvious game stack, but a really, really good game stack. Golden State versus Memphis should be a lot of fun from watching perspective, nothing else. There's already stuff out there. I'm sure you saw the clip by now with Draymond basically putting Dylan Brooks. There's going to be some fun smack talk, and who knows? Like, I'm not saying there's going to be an ejection in this game. It's likely not to be an ejection. But if you're asking me to like draft who's the most likely person to get ejected in this slate, it's Draymond and Brooks, and then there's a huge gap. But yeah, that should be a lot of fun. Is there anything else that we should sort of note, or we're just going to figure it out as we go?
I think we can figure it out as we go. The other thing that we were waiting for that we got right as we were starting was the Utah news. And so obviously with Clarkson being out, that does open up some stuff, but that's the first game or in the first set of games of the slate. So, we can cover that as we go.
Yeah. So Utah is in Orlando, Clarkson out, Kessler in, Sexton out. So they are kind of thin there as far as the guards as they have been. Orlando, Wendell Carter Jr. is still out with that hip. Gary Harris is back and available, as is Admiral Schofield, who I believe Gogo Batazzi took some of his minutes last game for what it's worth. I don't think that really matters for our concerns. As far as the line, we're looking at Orlando being, I don't know why I'm going to that game first. There's 3 7:00 games. That's what I picked first. That's what we're going to run with. But 233.5 is a total. Utah happens to be a 3.5 point dog here. Did mention again, no Sexton and no Clarkson, which means we're projecting Agbaji to draw the start, THT along with him. And then, Chris Dunn, who's had some ups and downs, but certainly in play. The price has been bumped up a bit. Orlando, Mo Wagner, his price got bumped up a good bit. Of course, he was 3.7, 3.8 last time out, and kind of pretty much a smash play, despite the fact, which was kind of weird, he didn't close. He was limited to 22, 23, 24 minutes or so. He still got there because he was super cheap, and he's a good fantasy point meta player, but no guarantee we're going to see Wagner close tonight. I should say Mo, because Franz likely will. Brothers Wagner there on Orlando. But your general assessment as far as Utah and Orlando, pretty appealing, at least total, and it's expected to be tight, right? So what do we have as far as Utah and Orlando?
Yeah, I'm quite interested in this one now that we have the news that Jordan Clarkson's out. Me, I'm all aboard the Chris Dunn train. It served me well the other night. I'm going to be playing a bit of him again today. Most of these guys are priced up for the situation, and so I think Horton Tucker and Chris Dunn and Lauri Markkanen, they're all strong plays, but they are priced appropriately as well. Running 150, I'll sprinkle a little bit of Agbaji in the pool. Kelly Olynyk, same case. I'll be getting to a bit of him in tournaments as well. But I think the player in Utah I'll be wanting to get most overweight to the field to is going to be Walker Kessler.
What's interesting is if you're shopping around FanDuel and DK, you're playing both sites. According to our ownership projections, Utah is much, much, much better priced on FanDuel, much more popular as far as ownership. I just want to show them some love as well. I know people play both sites, obviously. 37% for THT on FanDuel is our current projection. That's as of 5:10 on the East Coast, so as of 10 minutes ago. Mo Wagner's getting 37%. He's 4-4 on FanDuel. He's mid-5s on DK. That makes sense. He's also a power forward. He's not, center and center only. Therefore, you can only roster one. So you have a little bit more versatility as far as rostering him. Franz Wagner is 5-9 on FanDuel, so 32%. And Markkanen's at 9-2. And just as an overall thought as far as the slate, there's not a lot of big spends, right? It's a 6-gamer. There's no Luka. There's no Jokic. Obviously, there's no Giannis. As far as big spends in the slate, I mean, we're talking about like Steph, who's probably going to be not terribly popular. Halliburton, I guess, is a big spend. Randall, Sabonis, but there's not a lot of like raw point guys that could put up like 60, 65. But just noting that. And if you jump to DraftKings, as far as ownership, the biggest number ownership wise on DK is THT, but just 18%, like half the ownership. Franz Wagner, 17%. Lauri Markkanen, 16%. Fultz getting 13. Cole Anthony's kind of like been in that. He's had his moments being kind of sort of somewhat popular, but I think Gary Harris being back mucks him up a little bit. We're still giving him 26 minutes, but good matchup against Utah. But I don't think I'm getting there as far as Cole Anthony. I think it's much better plays. Banchero at 8-9% is kind of sort of someone interesting. And Mo Wagner, that is. We're giving him 28 minutes, which again, there is some fragility to that. We're not certain he's going to close. Good fantasy point per minute player, but center and center only on DK 6%. It's much more popular on FanDuel than it is on DK. And you're talking about running 150. You're sprinkling guys in. Your favorite play on each side of this game is who, as far as Utah and Orlando?
I think on Utah, it's probably either Chris Dunn or Walker Kessler. And then on Orlando, it's Mo Wagner still. Like, especially on FanDuel where he's nice and cheap. Like, he's still such a great value over there.
Man, Kessler is not going to get played at all, basically. 6%. 6.9K is priced on DK. I bet he's more on FanDuel. He always seems to be more over there on FanDuel. Of course, like, that's when you really get him going. When he gets like 6 or 7 or 8 blocks. Yeah, he's 8K over there, 2% ownership. It's really hard to do that. But, we have seen it. He's done it several times this year where he's had 7 blocks in a game. Is it going to happen tonight? I don't know. Unlikely, but possible. Anything else we should note here, or shall we move on?
Nope. Let's take it to the next one.
Okay. Charlotte and Detroit, 225.5 is the total. Detroit is a 4-point dog here. 2 of the worst teams in the league. And if you look at the tankathon stuff, I'm always kind of talking about this. Charlotte basically, I don't want to say they can't move, but they're basically locked into their spot of being on the outside looking in, of being amongst the 3 worst teams in the league. 3 worst teams in the league all get 14% chance as far as ping pong balls for Wembanyama. Charlotte has 5 more wins than the 3rd worst team, San Antonio, 21. Okay, but they want to tank. They're not going to. San Antonio is not winning 5 games, and then if they do, that means it's Charlotte has to lose out every single game. So all those scenarios are highly, highly unlikely. What if Charlotte wins? Well, they're 6 wins behind Orlando, who's 5th. So they're essentially locked in. Charlotte's trying. It's just this is their best effort. This is the best they can do. They're not very good.
And while Dean's talking about ping pong balls, we'll go ahead and drop the first ping pong balls here for the RG giveaway in Discord. Let me pull up the banner here. The rules are we're going to drop go to rotorandom.com and grab a number between 1 and 1,000. 1 guess per person. Each person gets a chance to win a week of combo RG premium. Just got to go to the Discord, the RG Discord, and the live stream chat channel.
Devin, you mind dropping that link in chat for the people? RotoGrinders.com/Discord. You do not need a paid RotoGrinders account, just any RotoGrinders account, and you can jump in that Discord. Some of our Discord channels are free, some are premium. Of course, it'll be silly of us to put this in a premium channel. This is a free channel. Just drop in a number from 1 through 1,000. And just TJ, out of curiosity, what's the optimal number? We talked about this the other day, the game theory strategy. What is the number that you would put in there?
I said 669, and I would have won the second one.
And that was for game theory reasons. That's why you guessed 669, correct?
Of course. Yes, complete game theory reasons.
Just
I don't know what you're implying. That
just how Flores Mark's game theory for 420 was his guess there. Purely game theory.
Yeah.
We'll revisit that giveaway in maybe 10 or 15 minutes.
And also, for what it's worth, the people aren't aware, you get a week of all the content, not just football. You get football, you get XFL. Sure, why not? That is football, I'm told. I haven't watched it just yet, but my understanding is they are playing a version of American football. You get hockey, you get MMA, you get golf, you get LOL, if that's still a thing. I don't know. Anything you can think of DFS-wise with the exception of NASCAR. NASCAR is a la carte. You get it for the entire week. You can use the optimizer. You get the bonus shows, the bonus content as far as the written content, expert surveys, all the goods for a week for free. Doesn't cost you anything. Okay, Detroit. They are a disaster. Have you heard? Yeah, they're a disaster. They are getting Jalen Duran back tonight. He has those ankles. Multiple ankles were issues. He's expected to play.
I feel that, Jalen Duran.
You have ankles too?
Oh, I got ankles.
Beef Stew is still out. He's got a shoulder. No Isaiah Stewart. Hayes expected to play with his hand. Alec Burks is still out. Bogdanovich, I heard rumblings he might get shut down. We'll see. He's out once again. Hamidou Diallo is out. Buddy Boeheim was sent down to the G League. It's unfortunate. It was a good run, though. I believe his dad might have retired. I feel like I might have heard that in passing. I didn't pay attention. I don't really pay attention to college basketball. But maybe he did. That's kind of something I saw. I didn't really click beyond seeing a headline. Yeah, who starts for Detroit? Because we've seen Bagley and Wiseman start together. We heard they said, hey, we traded for Wiseman. We're going to start this dude. Jalen Duran, of course, theoretically the center of their future, one of their centers of the future. Yeah, I believe he was a lottery pick. Of course, he's a rookie this season, just 18, 19 years old. Strong dude. What are we anticipating here? We'll get it. It's 7 o'clock, but who do you think starts? Is it Jalen Duran or Wiseman at center?
I could see it being both. I could see Wiseman starting at the 4 and Duran being the 5 and Bagley coming off the bench. I could see it being Bagley and Duran. I do think Duran's going to start, though. I can't imagine he comes off the bench unless they give us something specific that says, like, he will have a minutes limit.
Well, I think he's not going to play a ton of minutes, Jalen Duran. What are we projecting for him? I'm giving the over refresh here.
24.
That sounds about right. Like, why would you push him? There's no reason to push him terribly hard. He's going to eat off of Bagley, and we'll talk about Bagley in a second. We're giving Bagley 30 minutes, which is a slight hit. Still playable, right? He's 6.8K on DK, but which, like, you're in March when Marvin Bagley is 6.8K, and you're like, yeah, I guess, sure, I guess we can play that. That's on DK. I think Fanduel is I think he's 6K over there, if I'm not mistaken. 6K on Fanduel, 6.8 on DK. But, everybody else is taking a slight hit to some degree. The Detroit stuff has been baked up. Obviously, as much nonsense it is, we've been getting shares of them throughout the week as they've been super thin. Now, Hayes is 5'4", Ivy's 6'9". I've been playing in the mid-5s. I don't know if I'm getting there at 6'9". Certainly you can. Good matchup against Charlotte, obviously. Two of the worst defensive teams in the league, Charlotte and Detroit. But I'm kind of sort of somewhat off Detroit today. I'm hopeful if that's not going to bite me. Is it going to bite me if I'm under on Detroit today?
I am too. There's not going to be anybody that I have more than, I think, 10% of on this team. Like Ivy and Bagley and Hayes, if I get up to 10%, I'm cool with it. But I'm not trying to get more than that for any of these guys here. First run of lineups I just had came in. It's not going to be the set I go with. I am still adjusting things. But who's my highest owned player and how much do I have?
What site?
DraftKings. Let's play the game.
Say it again?
Let's play the game.
Yeah, I want to play the game. I watch Saul. I know there are consequences if I don't get this right. Let's see. I see your highest owned player is Bagley.
No. I was talking on the slate. But in this game, sorry, that was my bad. I should have elaborated that.
Oh, on the entire slates?
Yeah, the highest played older. My highest owned player in this game, you are correct. It is Bagley at 10%.
Your highest owned player on the slate on DraftKings, it's Chris Middleton. Or it's not. It's one of those two.
It's not. Kareem Livingston from chat nailing it. It's Cam Thomas. I got 80% Cam Thomas today.
We're going to get to that one. That's super interesting because he was a DMP CD the other day, but he can go from DMP CD to playing like 28 minutes. I wonder if he starts. That's obviously one of the more interesting games on the slate, both sides of that game. But Cam Thomas, we've certainly seen him have a monster ceiling. He did it before the arrival of Bridges, for what it's worth. Bridges is here. It was him with like nobody. Now Bridges, has been the top usage guy, but Thomas, when he gets on the court, certainly chucks a fair bit. Daron Sharp, I think, is obviously super interesting as well. But I was thinking this game. So my apologies. Either you said it, you didn't say it, or I wasn't listening. Could have been either. Do you have your most heavily owned player as far as Detroit? Is it Bagley? You said it wasn't very anything beyond 10%, right?
On Detroit, yeah, it is Bagley, and it was directly at the 10% range. So I'm not going to be getting too much of anybody from this game, but especially this Detroit team. Like, I will get to a little bit more on the Charlotte side, but still not very much.
People in chat are throwing out the players they have most heavily owned. Keep them coming. I'm curious to see the names. Fire off the player as of right now. You reserve the right to change your mind. It's all right. Not going to hold you to it. Kareem's got Cam Thomas. Conscious Machine's got Fox. Well, I don't think he's getting any ownership, like maybe 5% or something like that. Derek was guessing it's Tari Eason. You're always touting Tari Eason.
I got a stupid amount of Tari Eason
again today.
25%, which like isn't crazy, but it still feels like it's too much for what his price is.
His price, I think you are single-handedly like baking that price up because he was in the mid 4s, right? He's been in the 3s this year when he was getting less.
Yeah, the first night that I played him and he had like 39 fantasy points, it was he was like 3.9K.
How about Charlotte? And again, good matchup on both sides of it. No LaMelo, of course. I think on Fanduel, by the way, I should mention Bagley on Fanduel is really, really popular. It's an interesting fade, 6K for Bagley, 40% ownership, which seems kind of outrageous. But I get it at the same time. But kind
feels
of
like a great tournament fade, I think.
Yeah, I think he's in it, especially with obviously the arrival of Jalen Durant. We're not really sure how much he's going to play with his ankles, but he's going to steal some minutes. And of course, when the starting lineup comes out, and I think it's going to be. My guess is Durant does not start. My guess is it's going to be Wiseman starting alongside Bagley, but we'll see. Stay tuned. Mark Williams really cheap on FanDuel. He's center and center only, but 5.5 just seems incorrect. We're giving a 31-point mean projection. Therefore, he's a 25% ownership over there. Rozier running the show against Detroit, who again terrible, 29% on DK. It's a little less, I believe. Let's pull up the Charlotte side as far as ownership. So we're getting 20% on Rozier, 15% on Oubre. Knocks out that small forward position if you need a small forward. DSJ, Dennis Smith Jr., not going to start, but going to play 25 minutes or so, getting 12%. And Mark Williams, bigger price here on DK. You can Ross 2 centers, but 11%. Gordon Hayward did have a good night the other night. Good for him, but I don't think I'm paying 6-7 for Gordon Hayward. I don't make enough lineups to justify it. Talk to me about your Hornets exposure.
Yeah, not a ton of any of these guys. Like, I feel similarly to them about Detroit, but I like each of these guys a little bit better. So Oubre on DraftKings is going to be my highest owned at 15%. I agree with the Mark Williams on FanDuel call, though. That is somebody I'd probably be trying to get to at least 30% of it, that price tag over there. But Oubre about 15%. Terry Rozier about 10. Gordon Hayward and PJ Washington about 10. Mark Williams about 5 on DraftKings. So not very much. All of these guys are just kind of like, if they fall into last pieces for me, I'm good with it, but I'm not really targeting them.
Not terribly surprising that Gary Harris is jumping back in the starting lineup. Fultz, Harris, the brothers Wagner, and Banchero for Orlando. So no Sugg starting. Of course, no Anthony starting. I would guess that Harris doesn't close, but you never really know. Devin, did he give the people enough time to bake up all the potential options as far as game theory? Again, if they're not aware, jump on the Discord channel, RotoGrinders.com/Discord. You just throw a number in there between 1 and 1,000. Always Price is Right rules apply. They apply unless otherwise stated. They don't apply. Do not go over. Do not go over the number, but the closest to the number that Devin pulls in just a second. Are we ready to give out a winner here, Devin?
Yeah, we can go with our first winner here. We got a bunch of people joined on. So let's see, 1 in 1,000.
What do you got, TJ? Give a number quick, TJ.
669.
670.
267.
Ooh, that's a good game theory number.
All right, who's our winner? Who's our winner? 267.
Everyone went over.
Bill T is at 226. I think we have a winner. Bill
strong.
T. All right, Bill, I'll reach out to you in Discord, and we'll do another giveaway here in a minute. So I'll give all these people that are throwing their answers in right now a chance to win as well.
Sweet. Congrats. Congrats to Bill. Anything else of notes here as far as Charlotte and Detroit, or shall we move on?
The Discord people are having some fun, but the YouTube people got to step up our game because we can't even consider doing giveaways when we got 200 people watching, only 32 people hitting the like button. Like, if I know that if Devin was seeing videos like every week that it was like at least half the people hitting likes every week, he'd be firing away free things like it's nothing. So we got to start hitting the like button here on YouTube.
Research confirms there is a direct correlation with hitting the like button and winning 1 week free of RotoGrinders Premium. I don't know if you saw that research study, but
sources unnamed.
I heard it when I was getting my
peer reviewed. It was a really big deal in the statistics world.
60% of the time, it works every time. Houston is facing the Pacers. 236.5 is the total. Pacers are 10-point favorites because the Rockets are terrible at basketball. Aaron Naismith is questionable. He's got a hip, for what it's worth. I don't know how dramatic that is, but that's worth noting. KPJ.
Eric Naismith is in.
Oh, thank you. Did that just come through, or did I miss it?
Yeah, that was about a half hour ago, right when we came on.
My bad. It kind of stuck by me. KPJ is out with a thigh. We are projecting Deshaun Nix to draw the start, for what it's worth. I don't think we'll need that, but just he is still minimum 3K. We are giving him the starting nod projection-wise. It wouldn't shock me if it's Jayshawn Tate. That's a possibility as well, too. Of course, our projections would flip a little bit. These are the two worst teams defensive-wise, defensive efficiency in the last 12 games. Don't ask me why I went 12, but that's what worked out perfectly as far as the two worst defensive teams in the league. I know the Rockets give up the most threes by a huge margin. They're distinctly worse than the second worst team as far as yielding threes. Halliburton averages 3 per game. Buddy Hield buries a bunch of threes. His minutes have been weird, by the way. I'm not sure if you've been following Buddy Hield, especially in the second quarter, right? I don't know what's going on here, but Buddy Hield, last game, second quarter, he entered the game with 3 minutes and 24 seconds left in the second quarter and left with 1 minute and 15. So he played like 2 minutes in the second quarter. Before that, he played 0 minutes in the second quarter. Zero minutes. What's that? Before that, he just played like the last 4 minutes in the second quarter. Indiana might be playing games here. He did the same thing the game before that. Enters at 5:30, leaves at 2:28. He gets 3 minutes in the second quarter. He can't even close. I really wanted to play Buddy Hield today. I wanted to bet his overs as far as 3 today, but I don't know what they're doing with his minutes. They're jerking him around. Indiana is, for what it's worth, jockeying for position of like ping pong balls, right? I guess they're also jockeying for position of the playing nonsense too. But maybe Hoosiers in chat, tell me what's going on. Yeah, so he's talking about Duarte, and I know he watches the Pacers. I see him talking about it all the time. Got to piece it together with the whole Hoosier thing. Sometimes Duarte comes in and gets hot. Yeah, but like all those games in a row, Duarte's been stealing his minutes. Why would you insert the guy at 3 minutes and then take him out at 1? Like, what is that? I don't. Yeah, but taking this, TJ, you probably weren't expecting a rant on Buddy Hield, but I'm so confused.
They're probably, resting him for the fourth quarter because he's a shooter and they want him to have fresh legs.
That sounds like a stock answer. That's just like the color analyst just comes up with a spot. It means nothing. It's just like a word salad.
I did come up with that on the spot. Yes.
Yes, it's a word salad that you said nothing, but it made, I guess it's a passable answer. I don't know. But it's weird. And theoretically, there's some upside to Buddy Hield, but if he's going to be on the bench, they're not going to let him play basically the entire quarter. It's kind of weird. But who should play a lot and is well positioned is Tyrese Halliburton. And if his ownership is where it's at, like 13, 14% on FanDuel, last I checked, it was like 12 or 11 on DK. Has that changed? Let's give it a refresh. I will be over the field on that one. Nobody averages more potential assists in the league than Tyrese Halliburton. He's second in assists behind Harden. He averages a double-double. 10.5 assists per game this season. Of course, Houston, a good opponent for everything, essentially. 11% on DK. And, he's 9-8, and Holiday's a better play dollar for dollar. We'll talk about him in a second. There's other guys Tyus Jones. It makes sense. But also, look, we have salary savers. We have money. There's not any great big spends. I think Halliburton at 11% ownership on DK, if that holds, I love that for tournaments.
I'm with you. I'm doubling the field right now at 24% on Tyrese Halliburton. And I'm trying to be overweight on all the Pacers in this game. Like I'm getting, it's not that hard, but I guess I'm getting about even on Miles Turner. I'm doubling the 2.5% or whatever we have on projected on Buddy Hield. And then I'm even sprinkling a little bit of TJ McConnell, Jordan Nwora, Chris Duarte, just in case one of those guys gets hot and plays big minutes or this game turns into a blowout. And so I am trying to get to quite a bit of these Pacers today. Halliburton in particular, and then even sprinkling in the Duartes and the McConnells, just in case this one gets a little ugly.
It certainly has a chance to get ugly. And like we talked about, threes against Houston, they also get the ball stolen, I think, the most in the league. I think they also get blocked the most in the league. If not, like they're on the podium. I haven't checked in a couple days. Oh no, what is that? A live commercial I can't get away from. Is there anything more tilting than that one, TJ? I just freaked out. I'm sorry. I'm on like team rankings and a commercial came up out of nowhere. They're trying to sell me a pre-owned Honda. Hey, what about the Rockets? How do we feel about Houston? And yeah, I see Don Yeezy in chat talking about Green seems a little bit too cheap. We've seen him have some big games this year in the absence of KPJ. I always am a sucker for Şengün. I think he always has a ceiling when the minutes finally open up for him, but they've been pushing him down on him as well. I still think Houston should not be worried about tanking anymore. It's over basically. It's really, really hard for them. They had to win 6 games of their last 15, or I guess 17. They have 17 games left, which is not going to happen. And then if they do, Charlotte has to go winless, which is also, they're going to find a win somewhere, right? You think? They're winning tonight. There you go. Maybe. We'll see. What do you have as far as the Rockets?
Yeah, I like these guys. I don't mind getting to them a little bit. The Knickses, the Christophers, I don't think I need to go there. It's like you mentioned before, there's just not the need to spend up for those guys. Like, I guess if running 150 like I am, if all of a sudden Seth Curry scores 16 points and Deshaun Nix scores 19, well, technically, I guess that's going to be a pretty big deal to have him in your lineup. But still, I don't think I'm going to get to much of these guys, like these cheap guys, other than just like a little bit of sprinkles. KJ Martin and Jabari Smith, I don't mind at all. Kind of every slate. We always seem to have Jabari Smith projected for a little bit more than KJ Martin. I always just flip those in my own projections just because I like KJ Martin better and I like getting to him a little bit more. But I don't mind getting to him. Tari Eason is going to be my favorite on this team. Second favorite on this team behind Jalen Green, who I have 30% of. Şengün, again, don't mind him as well. I do. I like this entire game. A tidbit of information I found totally on my own in my own independent research here, Dean, is that in the last 12 games, Indiana and Houston are the NBA's 2 worst teams when it comes to defensive efficiency. And so, yeah, let's load up on Houston. Let's load up on Indiana. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored and a lot of turnovers.
You didn't see that note in the expert survey today by chance?
I don't know where I saw it, Dean. I just know that I came up with it on my own.
Well, there you go. That's a good little factoid. That could be useful. Put that in your back pocket. Turns out these teams are bad defensively. Your favorite play on Houston? You said it was Tari Eason?
Jalen Green, then Tari Eason.
Yeah, I like Green too. If I play Halliburton, I'm probably going to run it back with somebody on the Houston side. I don't think I have to, but I might run it back with Green as well. Ownership-wise, as far as this game, the Houston side, Green is getting a ton, right? 6'4" seems a little bit too cheap. Now his minutes have been slowly creeping up. Also, like he's come back from injury, but 33, we're not being overly optimistic, but 33, it's fine. He can get there. We're giving 31 to Şengün, and still a pretty good projection for him, 38 fantasy points and 7.4K as a median score. If you trust our defense versus archetype matchup tool, and if you call Alperen Şengün a post big, which I would call him a post big, that's basically what he is. He passes the ball a fair bit too, but in like post these days anymore in basketball in 2023. but it is the second best matchup in all of basketball. The Pacers, that is, from a fantasy perspective. So I think Şengün's got a bit of a ceiling, and KPJ being gone gives him a little bit more. He was, there was times when it was both Green and KPJ that were gone, and he had his moments too. But I don't mind a little Şengün. What is he getting? 15%, 10%, 15%. Sure, why not? Anything else we should point out here, or shall we move on?
No, I think we can head on to the next one.
Do we have anything as far as body parts? Any update on the old Twitter? And I guess this slate feels like it's, I don't want to say, again, it's basketball. It's, March. But it feels like most of the stuff right now is known, right? The only thing we're kind of sort of waiting for that we know that we're waiting for is Brunson. Brunson's questionable with his foot, and that's a 10 o'clock game, and we probably don't have that until the first 5 games all lock on us. There are 3 more games, 3 down, 3 to go. I believe that was the 7 o'clock games. Now we're talking about 7:30 games. The very first game tonight on TNT should be a lot of fun. I'm sure the studio is going to have a fun time with Dylan Brooks versus Draymond Green, the Warriors at the Grizz in the Grindhouse. All those G's. A lot of, yeah. All right, 235.5 is the total. Golden State is a 3.5-point favorite, despite being horrific on the road this season. Their road record is not good if you look at their plus, the home road stuff. So Looney is expected to play with his back. Kuminga's good to go as far as his ankle. Even Iguodala is available. The only person that we're expecting to be out for Golden State tonight is Wiggins. He's been out for a while, obviously. Same deal with Memphis, Steven Adams. Setback for him. They're saying a month now. He's going to be like at least 4 weeks removed. So he's done for the regular season. Hopefully they get him for the playoffs. Brandon Clark, he's done for everything. Kind of a bummer. Certainly clears the way for Xavier Tillman. We'll talk about him in a second. Jake LaRavia is questionable. That's not a big deal. And, of course, John Morant not with the team here in Memphis. I'll throw it to you as far as the Golden State side first, which, it's not very appealing. As far as math-wise, of course, you can play Steph and you can play Clay and you can play Draymond, but there's really not any great math plays in the Golden State side. What's your take as far as the Warriors?
Clay on DraftKings, I think, stands out as a little bit underpriced, maybe, but I'm with you. Like, these guys are all like, Draymond could have a triple-double and have a ceiling game. Steph Curry could hit 10 threes and have a ceiling game. Klay Thompson could as well. But I really don't, I don't love any of it. This is a team similarly to, obviously not a similar team at all to Detroit, but I'm getting same exposure to 5 to 10% of in case of ceiling game, but not trying to target them.
Ownership-wise, just going to confirm that, as far as the Warriors tonight, most popular Warrior on on DraftKings is Steph Curry at, I guess we're talking decimal points, 9.5% for Draymond, 9.38 if you want to get all technical as far as the percentage for Curry, DiVincenzo 7%, Clay 5%, sure. 3-point variance on the right side of it, of course it can happen, but math-wise, that does not look spectacular. How about the Memphis side? Desmond Bane coming off a horrific game. I think he bounces back for this one. 27%. The ownership reflects it as well. 44 fantasy points is the projection at AK. But Mitchell mentioning the Iguodala revenge. I forgot Iguodala was on. Did he even play a game for Memphis? I feel like he just never played for them. Either he's injured or he just sat the year out. What happened in that situation? Did he ever actually play for Memphis? Don't recall. If only we had a machine we could type this into. Hey, Tyus Jones is getting 26% ownership. They did finally get the memo. Somebody finally nudged DraftKings and said, hey, just so you know, John Morant's out. You might want to adjust that Tyus Jones price. 6-7. Okay, this is a good conversation. Still, I think there's a little bit of meat in that bone still. 35 points is our projection as far as the median. I like Jones a good bit. And then Tillman, another guy, meat in the bone. 31 minutes as far as the projection, fantasy point minute guy. I like both those guys in the mid-tier. Talk to me about Memphis.
Yeah, I'm with you. Those are going to be my 2 favorites as well in terms of Bane, Tyus, and then Tillman number 3. I'm interested in getting to quite a bit of them in tournaments today, and I'm also, call me crazy, but I don't hate the idea of getting some Dylan Brooks at $4,800. I think that's still a little bit too cheap with him for no John Morant. Jaren Jackson Jr. has got a high ceiling for tournaments. I don't think I have the need to get to any of these bench guys today.
Yeah, Jaren Jackson Jr. is one of those guys. I think you're supposed to, I'm not telling you what to do. You're an adult, you make your own decisions. But if you're running 150, I think you're always supposed to get some Jaren Jackson Jr. because he seems like, as variance goes, one of the most highest variance players. Like his floor is rough, but the ceiling, you catch him on the right night, he can take down some tournaments. So I think I assume he's just basically always in the pool to some degree. Other options we're kind of looking at.
My face just went, what? And that was me figuring out that I only have 10% Tyus Jones, and that's probably not very good.
I don't think that's enough, personally. I think you're supposed to have more than that.
I'm getting a 30% Jalen Green, and so I'm going to try and split the difference there and get 20% of each, I think.
Projection for what it's worth, or ownership is 26% on Jones. It'll be 30% on Green. Where are you at as far as Bane? You got 27%, more or less, somewhere around that number?
I'm at 30 right now.
Tillman,
15%.
I like the versatility, not just center only on DK. You can throw him at power forward as well. That's pretty useful.
There's a lot of players that I'm not getting as much of that I want to, and it's simply because I have 2 Nets and 1 Milwaukee player in every single one of my teams. I got Cam Thomas in 80%, Seth Curry in 65%, and Day'Ron Sharpe in 50%. And so it's not leaving me a lot of room for a lot of these other guys.
Sharpe's a bold one. I want to hear your take. I mean, I know he's a great fantasy point minute player, obviously, and that's going to change. I think there's a chance he starts. If he starts, the ownership's going to really flock to him. I wonder if you adjust. I think we're projecting Nerlens Noel to draw the start in that game. And again, we'll talk about that. When will we get that lineup? Probably after the 7 o'clock games, actually, because that's an 8 o'clock tip off there in Milwaukee, and a little bit tricky to figure out what Brooklyn's going to do. We'll talk about that game next. Jump in and chat. Feel free. Fire off some questions. We'll have time. Happy to get whatever questions you have, whatever you're debating between. If we missed something, if you think we're wrong about something, call us out. By all means, go for it. Also, while you're doing that, hit that like button, subscribe, turn on those notifications. It helps us beat the old algorithm, defeat the algorithm. We want to hand off as many likes as possible to the next show, which of course is TJ and Will and Roth. Amongst these 3, Don Easy wants to know Ivy, Tyus Jones, or Green on DK. I know you have at least Green and Tyus have a big chunk of both, but you have a preference amongst those 3.
It's definitely, I would eliminate Ivy and go Tyus or Green for me. And I think I would give the slight edge to Tyus, but I'd kind of base on if I have an Indiana player in my lineup, I would go Green. And then if I don't, I would probably go Tyus. I just made an adjustment. And so as it stands right now, I have both Tyus and Green in 20% each.
By the way, Brooks, we talked about Dylan Brooks, and, I know it's not breaking news that he's been just a terrible shooter. I'm looking at the entire roster for Memphis, at least the ones that are playing tonight. The lowest true shooting player on this team at 48%. I rostered some of them last time out because he was 4,200, right? As much as I don't like the roster Dylan Brooks, I'll roster you for the right price. I thought that was the right price. I don't think he got there. And DK still said, hey, screw it. Let's raise him up to 4,800. I understand why, because theoretically the ball, he's a professional shooter and the ball's going to go in the basket at some point. But I don't know. I'm fine with it, but it's not my favorite play tonight. Talking about why power forward stinks on DK. It's not great. Bobby Portis, we'll talk about him in a second. You'll play him at power forward. I like Tillman a good bit. He's one of my favorite power forwards tonight. Sharpe is center and center only, right? I don't think you can play him. Yeah, that's a little bit tricky, but good point made in chat by Terrell saying Sharpe has a higher ceiling than their own Noel. Absolutely.
I hope that Noel starts.
Yeah, how many minutes can he even play if he starts?
Nerlens Noel's not going to play more than a
20?
maximum of 24, like a cap, and it's probably going to be closer to 18 to 20, maybe a 22 soft max, a 24 hard max. And if you get 24 minutes of Day'Ron Sharpe at 3K, that is just absolutely amazing. And I think if if we get word that he is not starting and Nerlens Noel starts, because I do think some other people are projecting Sharp to start right now.
He may.
I hope that lowers his ownership to 25-30% as opposed to 50-60%, so that I can just get as much of them as possible.
Yeah, don't love the matchup either. It's kind of a benefit too. Like maybe he'll miss a little bit of Lopez, a little bit more than you want him to. Like catch some, I don't know, Bobby Portis at center, as opposed to Lopez. Lopez, really good defender, obviously. Trying to think who else he would catch as far as the big bodies out there. Myers,
Just the fact that Giannis isn't there makes it a lot better for
correct
the whole foul trouble issue as well.
Yeah, and also like coming in, you have a little more foul leniency when you're coming in at like the 5-minute mark or something like that.
Yeah,
as opposed to like if you're chasing foul trouble the entire game, you get 2 quick ones like that can screw you for the entire game sometimes, depending on your coach and how much they believe in math or not. Because sometimes they're just like, oh, you got 3 fouls, you cannot move off that bench. You're there, you're glued until the start of the second half. That is the next game. I think it's just the best game of the slate. It's a 6-gamer, but there's a lot of options. So Brooklyn is facing Milwaukee. 231.5 is the total. Brooklyn is a 10-point dog here, despite the fact Giannis Antetokounmpo, no Giannis tonight. There's no Giannis for Milwaukee, but otherwise everybody else is good to go. Well, Goran Dragic not playing. He's got that knee, but Drew Holiday has a neck. Despite that, he will be playing basketball, and Jay Crowder with his ankle should be good to go. But Brooklyn, Ben Simmons not playing. No Royce O'Neal, one of their 3-and-Ds. No Cam Johnson, one of their other 3-point shooters. And Nick Claxton. That's the reason why we're talking about Nerlens Noel and Day'Ron Sharpe. No Nick Claxton. Also, Dinwiddie. Dinwiddie's not playing basketball tonight, which, by the way, I think that the Giannis thing is just a counter to all these guys being out. And, Giannis was out last game because of an illness. And they gave him, I think they gave him a hand. Yeah, they gave him a hand. So he's not playing basketball tonight. You mentioned Seth Curry. We're projecting it to the starting lineup for Brooklyn to be Seth Curry, Mikal Bridges, Joe Harris, DFS, that's Dorian Finney-Smith, and Nerlens Noel. That is subject to change. Wouldn't shock me if Day'Ron Sharpe started. Wouldn't shock me if Cam Thomas started. I feel like you're got to get a lot of pieces, a lot of darts. I don't want to compare this situation to OKC yesterday, but I think there's some similarities. Your thoughts? I think they're better choices today. I'm not playing the results. I did not feel good about OKC yesterday. I think we all were talking about it just was suspect. It was very suspect. Your thoughts as far as Brooklyn? Where do you want to start? I guess you want to start with Day'Ron Sharpe.
I think in cash you need Thomas, Sharpe, and Curry. In tournaments, these are the guys that I'm getting most heavily in my lineups. I'm getting 80% Cam Thomas. I don't care if he starts or not. I'm getting 65% Day'Ron Sharpe. I don't care if he starts or not. I would rather him not. Seth Curry, I do care if he starts. I would waver on him a little bit if for some reason he wasn't, but I can't imagine he doesn't start. I'm expecting him to start today. And so Curry, I do really like, but if for some reason he's coming off the bench, I would try and limit my exposure to him and maybe try and get to a few other guys. Like if it was Sumner popped into the starting lineup, or maybe mix in a little bit of somebody like a Mills or a Yuta, or a little more Joe Harris, something like that. If Seth Curry gets out. But as it stands right now, I'm getting to 60% of them. I'm getting at least 2 Brooklyn players in every single lineup, at least 1 Milwaukee player in every single lineup. I think this is the top game to target on the slate. And it's just it's so interesting, even if this game turns into a blowout, right? Because even if Milwaukee, doesn't matter that they don't have Giannis and they win by 15, 20 points, well, then Day'Ron Sharpe and Cam Thomas are still probably going to have some pretty big days because they'll probably close.
I think so. I mean, I think that's the interesting part. Patty Mills is a guy that typically, he's old and he's one of those guys that I don't know if he's useful either way, but I guess he could possibly start. Again, he's another guy that could potentially start. And the chat was speculating about Sumter. I wouldn't be surprised if Sumter starts either. I don't feel very confident. I can tell you this, that DFS should start and Mikal Bridges should start, and everything else I'm not 100% certain about. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think that's fair to say for sure.
general rules, TJ, general rules. I do not like rostering the guy that's super, super reliant on making threes when they're super popular. Seth Curry, right? How do you feel about Seth Curry at currently 27% ownership?
I don't think we're reliant on him making threes if he's going to be the starting point guard today, though. Like, because he's going to be getting assists. He's going to be pushing the ball down the court in transition. He's going to be attacking. Seth Curry is a shooting guard with somebody else always handling the ball, and him just either sitting in the corner or running off screens is very different than Seth Curry with the ball in his hands all the time.
Just wanted to note Milwaukee, the 4th best team in the league as far as suppressing made 3-pointers per game. They are without, Giannis, certainly one of their best defenders. Just wanted to note that. Daron Sharp getting 44% ownership on DK at 24 minutes as far as his projection. He's a fantasy point minute guy. The matchup, again, not spectacular, but fantasy points are in at 1.05 on DK, 1.07 on Fanduel. If Sumner draws a start, he's interesting. 0.9 on DK, 0.91 on Fanduel. Bridges is interesting because, he's the guy as far as usage, right? He's been the guy since coming there. He's keeps scoring 30 points every single game and been writing up for scores and odds and been, getting some wagers on Mikal Bridges over like 22 points or 23 points, 25 as far as his over under. I think it's around 25.5 today. It's slowly creeping its way up there. He's getting less ownership than I understand because of salary reasons, obviously, and the salary has adjusted, and he's 8.5 on DK. Where are you at as far as Bridges? Because I think if this game is close, I think Bridges is having himself a good game, and he has to. He better because, again, the price is not cheap anymore.
Yeah, I'm getting to quite a bit of Bridges today. He's one of my favorite spend ups on the slate. I think I put in the expert survey that he was my favorite tournament spend up before we got news that Giannis was going to be out today. So I do like that I do like Bridges quite a bit today. I think I'm getting to about 20 to 30%.
Kuminga ruled out for Golden State. How much does that matter? Like,
I think it makes
play a few more minutes. You're not going to play Iguodala though.
I think it makes like Looney a little bit more interesting, maybe.
The thing with Looney is like he has that games played streak, right? And he played like maybe 10 minutes last game. I assume Looney starts, right? I guess he's okay now, but just interesting to note. Does anybody
probably avoiding that spot?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think if there's any way. What do we have Kuminga projected for? Probably about
maybe
20.
Anthony Lamb gets back in the rotation.
I think he's in the G League, unless he's traveling and he's close to the team or something like that. But I'm pretty sure he was sent down. But if he wasn't, then maybe he's in the rotation and you're not playing him anyway. For what it's worth, we had 24 minutes delegated his way, and I think a few more would go to Iguodala. Like you said, Looney, if he's healthy, probably grabs a couple more. I think Poole might grab a couple more too. But I don't know if it moves the needle a ton. The projection team obviously will do this and put more thought into it. Then, we can't really do the whole thing right now on the show. We got more games to talk about. But long story short, it's not a huge needle mover, I don't think, right?
No, I don't think so either.
So, final thoughts as far as Brooklyn. You said you're going to have at least between 1 and 2 and 3. Is that what you said?
Yeah, 2 to 4 in every lineup.
Would you play Noel? Would he be in your lineup if he draws the start, or just in general? And would you play Noel in the same lineup as a Sharp lineup? So would you separate those two?
I have them separated right now. I'm currently getting to like 5 to 10% Nerlens Noel, and then like 65 Daron Sharp.
Okay, yeah. I mean, if Nerlens Noel is like what wins somebody a tournament today, like good for them. But I don't think I'm going to have that. This isn't the slate for it. Like I might have been able to use, if you can take Noel starting and throw him on yesterday's slate, maybe I would have considered it, but every slate is different, obviously. And this one, I don't think I need it, is a sort of where I'm at. And if you can do one final rundown, I just think it's important. Stress your Brooklyn ownership. I know you're big on Sharp. You're big on Cam Thomas. And your third favorite play is who? Is that a cat? That's a cat, right?
Yeah, I was trying to get him to stop and I muted, but I was like, well, damn, I got to talk right away again. And so it's Cam Thomas number 1 for me at about 80%, Sharp number 2 at about 65%, Seth Curry number 3 at about 55-60% range. And then Dorian Finney-Smith is probably the only other one that I'm going to, and Mikal Bridges, that I'm going to get to over 20%. All the other guys I'm just going to be sprinkling in small capacities.
Milwaukee, the absence of Giannis, big bumps for Drew Holiday, big bump for Chris Middleton. As far as just points in the bucket, both their per 36 is about 25, 26 actual points in the bucket. Their rates go up. Portis gets a bump. He's not super cheap, but we talked about power forward not being spectacular necessarily on DK for whatever reason today. Certainly playable. Lopez is always kind of lost in the shuffle when it comes to the prioritization of Milwaukee guys, but certainly he can get there. The absence of Claxton, picking on Sharp and picking on Nerlens Noel, who's obviously in the back 9. He's on hole 17 or so of his career. Don't hate it. And 11%. I don't necessarily love the other guys as far as throwing darts like Grayson Allen and Crowder's minutes.
How
are still
old is
really,
Nerlens Noel?
I bet he's younger than I'm giving him. I think he came into the league. Well, Philadelphia drafted him in the lottery. He was on those tanking Philadelphia teams like MCW many years ago. He's probably like 32. He's probably not as old as I'm saying.
He's 28.
Yeah, there you go. There, I was way off.
He was young when he came in. Like, he was 19 still.
He must have been. He feels like a really old 28. My bad. I guess I'm just wrong, but okay. We'll see if he's still in the league in 5 years. But as of right now, terrible take by me. He's still in the back now.
2 torn ACLs.
Yeah. He's just, I'll take the L on that. They're asking me what college. Is it Kentucky? Did he go to Kentucky?
Yeah.
I think. Is that right?
Yeah.
There you go. I'm 2 for 2 on guessing colleges because, and that's shocking because that is not my area of expertise. So talking about Milwaukee, how much do we love Drew Holiday? How much do we love Middleton? Because we really should like the both of them a lot, I think.
They're great. I don't know if I'm going to like them as much as the field is, to be honest. That's maybe not the right way of putting it. I like them more than the field, but not as much as the Brooklyn side. So I'm trying to get to about 40% Holiday, 30% Middleton, but these guys aren't that cheap. And so because of that, I'm not getting to a ridiculous amount of these guys today. I like Brook Lopez a lot for tournaments. Bobby Portis is the one I'm probably the lowest on. And I don't really feel the need to get to any other Bucks today.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm kind of on the big 3, a little bit of Lopez as well. And I don't think I'm going to, Crowder's minutes are still way down. Jingle and Joe, I don't think that's necessary. That's Ingles. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. Let's talk about the hammer game. That is New York and Sacramento, the back half of the TNT doubleheader. We still don't know about the Brunson burner. Jalen Brunson is questionable. Otherwise, I think everybody else, if I'm not mistaken, is healthy in this game. Yeah, Darren Fox is off the injury report. He's good to go. And it's just Brunson. By the way, Eric in chat's asking how we're feeling about Sumner. I have 100% in my lineups. I have less. To be fair, my lineups are not made yet, but I will have less than 100%. He may start. He may not start. I would be more interested if he starts. If he doesn't, I don't know. I guess you can get some, but what was your number you had on something?
If he ends up starting, I'll have a lot more than this, but right now I have 3%.
Yeah. And I don't think the field's very, let's see. Now I'm just circling back. What is the field? The field's at less than 1%. So 3% seems well over, but again, that will adjust, and we don't know what the, who's starting for Brooklyn, and stay tuned for stuff like that. Okay, so New York, Sacramento, everybody's fully healthy with the exception of Randall. 240 is the total. Sacramento's a 2-point favorite, 3-point favorite. It's high, it's tight, it's on national TV. The Kings are going to want to light that beam against New York. The problem is everybody's just kind of priced where they should be. We talked about it earlier in the show as far as Brunson. Hey, we should do? We should give away another week free of RG Premium. My bad. I forgot about the second one. Unless we already did that, Devin, on the quiet. Did we do that low key?
No. And Dean, of course, I'm going to make sure we're not going to forget that. Don't you worry. You guys just keep going. We'll get through this and then we'll knock out that last one.
Okay, yeah. And just in case, again, some people, Devin, some people have a job, they put pants on, they leave the house.
This is
and
true.
unfortunately, they can't watch the show from the start. But if they're not aware, we're giving away a week free.
Yep. For our pantsless viewers, we'll remind you, jump in the RG Discord, free to join.
Pants, no pants, whatever you're wearing.
Pants.
I barely got to this show on time because I had to put on pants.
Hey, it's waist up, so nobody's asking, nobody's telling.
It's not an obligation, just for the record, going forward. TJ.
I mean, Dean, you never have to see the screen up, so you don't notice. But Devin's seen me a couple times. I've gotten up to get my cat off of these shelves that are behind me. So if I wasn't wearing pants, it could have been a tough day. Behind the paywall for sure.
So yeah, don't forget, jump in RG Discord. If you haven't dropped your guess already, drop it in there. We'll get to that in maybe 10 minutes.
RotoGrinders.com/Discord, putting the number between 1 and 1,000. 1 and 1,000. Price is Right rules. Closest to 1 week free of RG Premium. Talk to me about New York and Sacramento.
This feels like one of the games. We got Chief in chat trolling Dean, and I love it. Dean doesn't own pants. Dean doesn't own food. We know Dean can season his food. His favorite food is boiled chicken and rice. Salt is too spicy, so he just leaves it nice and clean. Goes to the restaurant to ask him what kind of wings he wants, and he says plain, please. Now, with this game specifically, it just screams a game to me. It's like you said, everybody's appropriately priced, and because of that, it's tough to want to get to anybody in bunches. But doesn't this just scream like a game to you that like we'll get Brunson news way after the slate? Oh, he's out, and then this game goes into double overtime, and you need a couple players from each side to win anything.
It screams like it's going to be a blast, and it's going to be high shooting as far as the points. And it's on TNT, and you really can't quantify it. But Sacramento is a team. I gave this stat the other day. I can't remember if I said it on Sirius. I may have said it on Sirius. If you guys aren't aware, we're on Sirius now on the weekends. Check us out. 6 to 8 o'clock on Sunday nights. Well, the times are a little fluid, but 3 to 5 on Saturday, 6 to 8 on Sunday. This is kind of wild, TJ. There's not one active player in the NBA, that can say they faced the Sacramento Kings in the playoffs. This is a team that, and now they're like in the 3 spot. They're super excited there in Sacramento. Now they're on national TV, on TNT. What? They're lighting the beam, the big purple. I don't know if it's kind of like the Luxor at night. Are you aware of this? Have you seen the lighting of the beam? It's a big deal in Sacramento. The crowd chants for it. They're going to be up for it, and they're facing New York. I know New York's not the best team in the league, but it's obviously one of the storied franchises. It's going to be rocking. It's going. I haven't seen, but I guarantee it's a sellout there in Sacramento. Brand new arena out there. It's beautiful. So I'm afraid. In the survey it says who are you afraid of not having enough of? My answer was this game, Sacramento, New York. I'm just afraid of not having
a bonus, so I'm on the same page as you.
I might make one game stack, just because, and I can do it. It's not hard. Even if you're overspending or you're paying whatever market price happens to be, it's not hard. You can still make a fine lineup, like spending up on Sabonis and Randall, or kind of figuring something out as far as the Quickly situation and with Brunson. And by the way, nobody's playing Brunson because everybody's in the same predicament. Nobody wants to lock Brunson in and have him get ruled out, right? And then all of a sudden, worst case scenario, you can pivot to Quickly with just one player. Ideally, that's not what you want to be, but that's what you can do. But nobody's playing him, Brunson, tonight. And certainly it's a good matchup if he's healthy and full throttle. And it's Tibbs. Last I checked, he's the coach for New York. So I assume all systems go, right? If he's in, they're not going to bring him back and have him play 28 minutes. Anyways, I talked too much. Give me your final thoughts. We'll draw a winner for the people.
Yeah, that same page with me. I'm getting about 10% Fox right now, and I want to get more. I just don't really know who to pull it away from. Maybe Tyrese Halliburton, since I'm getting about 25% there. But I'm just having a tough time getting more of these guys. I'm getting to 5% Sabonis, only 10% Fox, no other King am I getting to more than 5%. And on the Knicks side, I am getting about 15% Julius Randle right now. So I do think that would be, say we get Brunson in, that might be a spot that I'll try and make a few more pivots to a guy like Sabonis so I can get a bit more of him. And then I do have about 9% Brunson right now. So I'm feeling pretty comfortable with that. I feel pretty good about that. But since I do have the rule in my lineup anyways, that if I'm playing Brunson, I need to be playing him with 1 to 2 Kings, then I think I might actually just
raise the amount of Brunson I have anyways, take a bit of a stand there, since I will have the flexibility anyways to make some swap arounds.
All right, some last second guesses coming in here, Devin, as far as the Discord. I don't know if you want to cut them up. You want to pull the roulette move and they go like this? You ever play roulette? No more bets, no more bets, no more bets, no more numbers, no more numbers. There you go. You graduated roulette school. That's all you got.
That was before my time, Dean. I don't know about that one.
No, roulette wheel is not. It's in this time. The roulette wheel is not extinct.
You're not referring to like a 1950s game show?
No, the roulette wheel is something you see in a casino. It's not hanging out with like the dodo bird or something like that.
Did you hear they're trying to bring the dodo bird back? And
I did.
the mammoth too?
Dean, tell me about Match Game.
Oh, Match Game is spectacular. I wish we had more time to get into it. But
just sit around the fire and
all
hear
double entendres. It's all sex double entendres. Like, well, Larry was so lazy when he goes to the bathroom. I can't.
How lazy was he, Dean?
I think didn't they bring it back with Alec Baldwin? I feel like that's on TV now. But back in the day, the guy had like this really weird microphone. We have no time for this nonsense. Crunch time.
Sarcasm.
Starring. It's starring.
I didn't think you would actually do it.
It's starring Will, and also TJ is going to be there too. You're powering through. Hopefully, you've conserved your voice. You've conserved your words because you still are going to be on for 45 more minutes. Devin, give the people a winner.
Yeah, I was going to say we finally have our last guesses in. We'll give the randomizer a refresh here. 1 in 1,000.
Wow, I jumped in at the wrong time, but I had to come in and tell Dean that I still think that he's a psychopath, that he doesn't use any salad dressing on any of his foods. Have a great show, guys.
Congratulations, Rob. Rob won he took something down yesterday, a 5 for 5 on one of the deals.
Oh yeah, congrats, Rob.
I saw on the Twitter. So, and you
He's
know
gone.
what?
He's gone.
He asked me. He said,
Where did he even get the StreamYard link?
Yeah, is that normal? Is that standard?
He's got the keys somewhere.
Rob was a ghost podcast. Was that a ghost? Was that the ghost of Rob?
The ghost of Rob. They were on another podcast. All right, I'm going to run this 1 through 1,000. 44. Wow.
Wow.
There's no winners. There's no winners.
I'm
declaring no winners.
Somebody dropped 1?
No
winners. Wow. All right. First
one
time for everything.
Then
we're gonna have
one is smart because then you get everybody that's $1. Think of how many $1 bets you see in Price is Right.
It's a smart idea until somebody gets 2. So all right, we got to get another drawing here. 844.
The world says 2.
800 exactly more than the first drawing. 844. Let's see.
Oh, here we go.
That is gonna be Flores Mark 1983, friend of the show, Marty Don Yeezy.
Let's go, friend of the show. I love that.
All right, guys, I will dip out. We'll bring crunch time in, and I will reach out to you, Flo.
I think it was rigged. Friend of the show wins, of course. Like, what are the odds, TJ? Shout out to Don Yeezy.
Tag FanDuel. Give me my refund. Void the Discord contest.
I mean, most people that are on here are friends of the show, right? I feel like it's pretty good odds. It's a lot of the same people hanging out.
Yeah, they're all friends of the show.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's a good way of saying it. We brought in Andy Means. No, Andy Means. Andy Means is not here today. Why would I say that? Kevin Roth and Will, they're here. You got TJ on fumes. You're gonna have to your usage today, Will and Roth. You got to pick it up. Well, he's young. He's got plenty of
my
gas.
Streaming. Look, my cardio is not good, but my streaming cardio is high. I was telling you this on the earlier, Dean. I got back-to-back RG shows, then I got my Agents Phantom show for The Mandalorian. Then I got to watch 3 episodes of Ted Lasso and write a review. I'm ready. I'm good to go.
Did you know this, Roth? Andy. Geez, why do I keep saying Andy? TJ is special. He gets he gets the advanced copies of such things as Ted Lasso.
I didn't know that, but I do think it's hilarious that like TJ has multiple jobs and all of them don't sound like jobs at all.
No,
I know, it's so awesome.
I gotta watch
my only real job this year.
Then
I quit my only. I've taught for the last 5 years and I quit this year, so my real job is gone and I just get to do fun stuff now.
Yeah, good job. Well, you've hacked life, man. Good work.
I should step
Also,
aside and
Will.
get out of here.
What's that?
Gotta
let it
cap
play
it
too
5
much.
seconds so we don't get in trouble. You were calling me the Intercontinental Champion yesterday in the chat when I was talking. I'm trying to get in the heavyweight range here. I'm not no Intercontinental champ. I put on some weight this year.
Listen, there were some very good Intercontinental champions back in the day. I don't think the Intercontinental.
I got a Jeff Hardy figure somewhere in this room.
Yeah. Oh, did Dean just like mysteriously leave? Actually,
he just did like the podcast equivalent of the French exit or the Irish exit. The Irish goodbye.
That was Irish goodbye.
Dean never does that.
He did.
Dean did a silent handoff.
He just
Today
did. Today
is March 9th at 6:21 p.m. Eastern or 5:21, I think Central. We just need to mark this down. This will never happen again.
I'll tell you what it was. He had to cover a lot of talking because TJ's doing double duty. We finally got to the end of Dean's talking rope. Ladies and gentlemen, we finally made it. We did
it. Hey! Well, excellent stuff as always from the entire Grinders Live crew, which is essentially just Dean and then TJ, who is still here. TJ, we appreciate you hanging out with us extra long, streaming all day long. How you feeling, man?
Good, feeling ready to roll. I was telling Dean, I was telling to Devin this, like I don't even mind the double duty because I would have been watching Grinders Live anyways. These are the crews that I've been watching every day for years, and so now I just get to be paid to hang out instead. So it's a little bonus, but this is a fun slate. I talked mostly kind of my tournament takes throughout Grinders Live. I'll put the Meansy hat on and go cash game for this one. But it's an interesting little slate. It feels kind of small, but there's still so many options, but at the same time, no really pay up options. So it's a weird one.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I got nothing better to do than throw some bones into the old DFS arena. We got the Chief as well, helping us through with the old GPP takes. Dean says, wait, TJ gets paid?
Yeah, it's because I'm the one getting the likes up, Dean. That's why they took my salary out of Dean's.
Yeah, that's true. What up, Chief? How are you, man?
I'm good, brother. Good to see you, man. Just so you guys know, I must say, and I know Nashville happened like a month ago. I was so thrilled to see everyone in person. Like, it was so refreshing. You guys just don't understand how important I think that little trip is for us every year. So to get to see Roth in person and hang out a little bit and hang out with him at the Super Bowl, it was fantastic. TJ, hopefully you can make it next time, whenever, But Roth, I must say, it was a pleasure to get to hang out with you, sir. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Man, I had a blast too, and this was extra special because it had been so long. Because the Super Bowl party got canceled because of the pandemic. Like, I hadn't seen most of these people in 3 years, which is crazy.
Yeah,
but yeah, it got a little wild. Do I regret some of the karaoke choices? Maybe, but a good time was had, and it was awesome to see you guys. But hey, the people don't want to hear us reminisce. They want to hear the straight winners. Are you ready with some GPP flames, my man?
I'm ready, man. For those that don't know, I've been dipping my toe back in the GPP streets a little bit more consistently because baseball is coming, and I'm a firm believer that you need to get in a groove. Like, I don't just want to come back in cold, so I kind of started NBA a little bit more, and I've been having some fun. So perhaps I take down a GPP right before MLB. If not, no big deal. MLB will be here soon. I'll take one down, and we'll keep this thing moving.
Hey, I did it yesterday. You can have it today.
Correct.
There you go. Dean says, Roth, when can I release the karaoke video? Like, never online. You can play like a GIF of it somewhere, but just never online where it can be accessed again, please. The world doesn't need to see that. Hey, this is a free show, by the way. If you're wondering, hey, Crunch Time, I thought we had to pay for that. Well, not this year, because it is sponsored by Fanduel. That is the reason why you should give this show a like, because Fanduel, you're liking Fanduel, you're liking us. Hit it with the like on the old YouTube. Make sure you're signing up for the Fanduel Sportsbook as well. If you are in a legal sports betting state, take advantage of their awesome bonus offer. New customers bet $20 on any market. Get $200 in bonus bets. Terms and conditions apply. Offer not available in Massachusetts, but it is available everywhere else. So make sure you're doing that. TJ, let's talk about this slate in general. You kind of gave us a little something, but kind of walk through it if you don't mind.
Yeah, so there's one game in particular that really
shapes this entire slate, and that is the Milwaukee Bucks and the Brooklyn Nets, because Brooklyn's just missing basically everybody but Mikal Bridges. There's no Spencer Dinwiddie. There's no Claxton. And those are the two biggest deals, but it leaves us with just so much value on this team. And so in my GPPs, I have rules that I want to make sure I'm playing at least two Brooklyn players in every single lineup. I have 1 to 2 of Cam Thomas and Seth Curry in every single one of my lineups. And I think that's going to be just sort of our main place that we're looking at. Indiana and Houston is going to be fast paced with no defense. The late night hammer of New York and Sacramento is a really high total and a really close spread, as are the first 2 games of the night in Utah, Orlando, and Charlotte and Detroit. So this is probably going to be a very high scoring slate. But to me, the Brooklyn and Milwaukee game stands out as the mainstay for us.
Okay, very nice. Hey, before we start diving into the play-by-plays, I do have to give a shout-out, because last night we were giving away some winners, and when I say some winners, I mean, looking the name up here, Rax, a.k.a. RDS31, who's watching Crunch Time, and is hanging out in the RG Discord, picked up a cool $25K by coming second place in the FanDuel Wednesday NBA Jumbo Dunk Contest. 25K.
Oh, the 150. The 150. Cool.
Yeah. So that's a pretty good job, and was just a couple points away from taking down 100K. But we don't focus on that. We focus on the 25K win.
Yeah, tell me about it, Roth, because I was a couple points away from taking that down at one point when it was 250 up top.
Yeah.
And second was actually 125. Listen, I was grateful for the 125, but oof.
I know.
Gosh,
Last night was the second night in the last week and a half. I won the 50-cent GPP, and it would have taken down the $15 one for 100K as well.
Oh my God. You got to start putting that lineup in places, man. I guess you're putting a ton of lineups in, so you don't.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is just like,
I get you.
It's entering 150 and 50-cent contest. It's only $75, but doing it in that $15, it's 2,500 almost. So,
yeah.
It's a big difference.
Yeah, that's a pretty penny. Anyways, a bunch of people giving some love to Rack. So congratulations. We love to see the subs win it. That's always great stuff. But what we want to do is we want to run that back. So let's do it again. TJ, let's talk some plays over on our sponsor FanDuel site.
So Noto with the core plays today has made my job nice and easy for cash games, because he's got 5 plays tagged here for us, and so I agree with every single one of them. Mark Williams is underpriced at center. Mo Wagner is underpriced starting at power forward. Cam Thomas would be in 80% of my lineups. Desmond Bane is probably my favorite spend up on the slate, and the second one is Drew Holiday. So no disagreements from me there. That's exactly the way I would do it as well. So going over to the point guard position, in addition to Drew Holiday, who are we looking to go to? To me, it's Seth Curry. Seth Curry at $4,200 is the one that I want to be getting in there. If you're not going with him, if you're looking to spend up there, it's Jalen Green, it's Terry Rozier, maybe even Tyus Jones if you want to. But for me, the guy I want to go with is Seth Curry, just because we're expecting him to start at point guard. And when he's starting at point guard, that kind of goes beyond just I'm only going to sit in the corner and shoot threes, Seth Curry. So he'd be my favorite there. And if we plug him in, it leaves us for $8,100 for the last few positions. So if you don't want to be using that money elsewhere, you can go up to Terry Rozier, or you can go up to Jalen Green, Tyus Jones, somebody like that. But my first choice is Seth. Then if we're playing one of those 3 alongside Cam Thomas, Desmond Bane, and Drew Holiday, that's everybody. And where that does get tough is we have Chris Middleton here as well. So you're probably going to be wanting to play Cam Thomas, Desmond Bane, at least one of them in the small forward position, because we're going to be wanting to get Chris Middleton here back in the starting lineup. I think he's going to be my preferred cash game option at the shooting guard position. I like him a little more than Rozier. I like him a little bit more than Talen Horton-Tucker, or a lot more than Talen Horton-Tucker, a lot more than Franz Wagner. Projections say if you can get up to Rozier, go up to Rozier, but
$7,800 Middleton, I think, is going to be my favorite at this position outside of the guys we already have in. Then at small forward, maybe this is where you want to use Bain and Thomas here instead of shooting guard, because this is a lot less strong of a position than the guards are. There's just so many guards that we want to get to today. If you are playing these guys at the shooting guard spot, though, you can still go to Franz, who's underpriced. You can still go to Taylor Horton-Tucker. But if you do have the salary here because you used Seth Curry before, because you use some of these other cheap guards, then guys like Lauri Markkanen and Mikal Bridges are both phenomenal plays here. I'd go with Markkanen over Bridges, but if you even want to get to both of them, I don't think there's anything wrong with that as well, because Markkanen is power forward eligibility. And I think if I'm spending up, he would be one of the ones I'd want to go to here. I will say $4,400 Day'Ron Sharpe. We are not expecting him to start. If it is me, I would want to play him in cash. Day'Ron Sharpe to me is one of my highest priorities on the slate. I'm going to have him in like 60% of lineups. And so you can play both him and Wagner. You can play him instead of Mark Williams, or you can play him instead of Wagner. I wouldn't disagree with you if you wanted to do that, because we got him projected for about 25 points today, 24.5, but I'm personally projecting him for about 30.
Okay. Anything else you want to cover?
That's about it.
No? Okay. Very good. I am very intrigued with what we're doing here in tournaments. There are some of these guys, like, wasn't Bain in this spot like yesterday or 2 days ago and did absolutely horrible? Like, are people going to be off him? But just walk me through a tournament build over on FanDuel, Chief.
So what I would say in tournaments for FanDuel today is you don't really have, in my opinion, any real studs to spend up on. You've got Tyrese Halliburton, who's over 10K. You've got Curry, who's over 10K. But generally speaking, I think this is a mid-range build slate overall. I do think you can play Halliburton. I do love Halliburton today. I was actually surprised that Halliburton is garnering more ownership than De'Aaron Fox, which leads me straight to the end of this slate, where I will build backwards from the 10 o'clock area forward, or backward rather. I think De'Aaron Fox is one of the top plays on the slate at 9,500. We've got him, projected for around 8%. I did just refresh. I think we're still at 8% unless something's changed within the past 30 seconds or so. So I really think he's a great option today to kind of kick your lineup off, because you've got all of this value. You've got Day'Ron Sharpe. You've got Seth Curry. You've got Cam Thomas. You've got Mo Wagner. In my opinion, another guy that I think should be on the list, you've got Isaiah Livers, or Livers. I'm going to say Livers. You've got Isaiah Livers, who, while the projection isn't there, look, man, he's playing the Charlotte Hornets. This is going to be an up and down game. He's 4,100, 4,200 on FanDuel, and we've got him projected at 4%. This is one of my favorite values on the day. Projections will not agree, but what I'm trying to do is find some guys that aren't getting ownership that have some upside. So I like him a ton. You've got Kelly Oubre, who's slightly overpriced. But once again, with all these guys out for Charlotte, we've got him projected for 13%. The projection is not going to agree, but I think this is where you take some shots at 13%. He's kind of been the leading fantasy point scorer for this team most games now with LaMelo out. He's got 50-point upside. He's 8K. I like him a ton. We're going to get plenty of ownership on THT tonight. He may, in fact, be a necessary evil in tournaments, because you've got to spend some money somewhere. And at some point, taking the guaranteed minutes and the fantasy production, I think, is going to be necessary, because, once again, we can really build lineups in a different way. So I'll just kind of maybe, Devin, if we can just I was going to do this yesterday, if we can just give them an idea of what a build looks like. If you plug in De'Aaron Fox, you plug in THT, you plug in Day'Ron Sharpe, you plug in Drew Holiday, right? If you just plug in those guys and look at all the salary that you have left, you can build however you want. So take a stand on the guys that you like, whether it's Fox, Curry, whoever. I would be taking massive stands tonight, because I can build however I like.
Okay. I did see this comment in chat from Infinity Stuff. He says, New York Sacramento is the highest projected game. Nobody's talking about it. # sneaky. Is there a Brunson update? Last I saw it was questionable.
No.
Is he?
So I think that game has us hostage a little bit, and it's probably going to have us hostage until 8 or 9 o'clock, unless they just decide to release the information. If Brunson plays, I think he's a great play. If he's out, though, I think RJ Barrett's a great play. I think Emmanuel quickly. I think Barrett will probably be my guy. And right now we have him projected for very low ownership because the projection on him is very low for where his price point is. But if Jalen Brunson is out, RJ Barrett's going to be a favorite of mine. And he's going to have low ownership because when this slate kicks off at 7, I doubt seriously we will have any idea of Jalen Brunson news.
And from a tournament perspective, this is what I'm doing today to kind of counteract this is I'm getting 15% Jalen Brunson today. Now, if he's out, you're screwed. There's no straight line pivots. It's the last game of the night. So I went into lineup HQ. I set a rule that I went in player groups that if I'm going to have Jalen Brunson in the lineup, I'm going to have 1 to 2 Sacramento Kings player in that lineup as well. So that way, if Jalen Brunson gets ruled out, I'm going to have the ability to pivot. I'll be able to do a De'Aaron Fox and RJ Barrett as opposed to Jalen Brunson and whoever else I had, something like that. And so pivot to Emmanuel quickly more, pivot to RJ Barrett more. That's kind of how I'm looking to go about that one. And I want to give a quick shout out to our projections team here as well, because nobody really had any idea what Brooklyn was going to be doing with their starting lineup, and they nailed it. They got it spot on today. Seth Curry, Joe Harris, Mikal Bridges, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Nerlens Noel. I love that Cam Thomas and Day'Ron Sharpe are both coming off the bench. I hope that scares people and makes it so their ownership doesn't get too crazy. That actually really excites me.
Okay. I did see some people talking about Noel, some saying it could be a sharp play. Any interest there, or are you worried he's not going to get the minutes? I feel like he produces, right? He's a permanent guy when he's out there.
So on Fanduel, where you get the steals and the block upside, he's always a better play than he is on DraftKings. $3,800 over there. I do think he is absolutely in play for tournaments. I like Day'Ron Sharpe just so much better, though. He's a way better of a fantasy point per minute guy.
Gotcha.
Noel's probably not going to play more than like a maximum of 24 minutes. And that means Sharpe is probably going to get the majority of the rest of it, since it's not like Brooklyn goes small very often. Milwaukee goes small very often. Sharpe's going to be the one who closes if this turns into a blowout. I'm getting to about 60 this is projecting Noel to be the starter. I'm still getting 60% Day'Ron Sharpe today, and I'm trying to find how much Nerlens Noel I have on DraftKings, but it's not very much, 5%.
Wow, okay.
And then on FanDuel, I would like him more.
Okay, very good. Excellent stuff, guys. News breaking. Just finished up with FanDuel, so let's kick it over to DK here, TJ, and kind of walk me through the cash build. Is it same core guys tagged here? Same start to the build?
Drew Holiday, Desmond Bane, Chris Middleton, Cam Thomas, Seth Curry, 5 players, all from one game. So Noto's on the same page as me today, because those are also, if you add Day'Ron Sharpe and take out Desmond Bane, then those are my 5 highest owned plays on the slate.
Wow.
And so personally, I want to add Sharpe to this list. I'm going a little bit out of order here, but even though he's not starting, we knew that was going to happen. He's still the top play. A 3K Day'Ron Sharpe is still who I want to be playing here. And that leaves us only 2 positions left for 7,800. You have a power forward and a forward position. You can kind of do whatever you want for these last 2 spots here. You can go expensive and you can go cheap. You can go mid-range for both. You can look at guys like Bagley, guys like Tillman, go all the way up to somebody like a Lauri Markkanen or a Julius Randle, and kind of do whatever you want. If you don't want to play Sharpe there and you do still have the 6,200 remaining for your last 3 positions, you're basically looking at guys like Xavier Tillman, Bobby Portis, Marvin Bagley, I honestly feel like Sharp could just match those guys today at literally half the price. So that's why I want to be going there.
Gotcha. Okay. That's it. You're done.
That's it. Nice and easy today.
Okay.
It's like
All right.
it's super straightforward just because we have this one game that is such insane value that like when you're plugging in 5-6 players from one game, it really doesn't leave you too much else.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right. Well, then we still got to figure out what to do in tournaments because if you do what I do and play those 6 guys, you're going to get duped 8 billion times and you're still not going to win. So let's discuss how you do a tournament build around this.
Yeah, so similar situation here. De'Aaron Fox not getting any ownership on DK either. I'm actually very shocked at the ownership that he's not getting today. So Fox is going to be a big focal point of my tournament builds today. And the Sacramento Kings in general are just cheaper overall on DraftKings. Like on FanDuel, Kevin Huerter is like 6,800. Like we can't pay that price for him on this slate. But on DK, where he's 58, a little bit more palatable. As we move through, I think, there's no secret here. Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, those are guys that I think you need to consider. You don't have to have them in every lineup. Those are guys you need to consider. Memphis Grizzlies are a lot cheaper on DK, where Bane's 8K, Tyus Jones 67 versus Tyus being around 74 or 7,500 on FanDuel, and Desmond Bane being around 8,600. So I do like those guys a little bit more on DK. I don't have to talk about the Nets who are facing the Bucks, which we've already talked about. Mo Wagner a little bit more expensive on DK, so I don't think he has the same appeal, if you will. Lauri Markkanen, I still think has some appeal on DK at 9,600, paying up a little bit to be contrarian. Tyrese Halliburton has tons of appeal for me on DK, where he is 9,800, and then on the other side of this game. I was actually shocked. I know it may seem thin, but Houston doesn't have a lot of guys. Deshaun Nix is 3K. I think he's another value play. I think Brooklyn's getting all the value, but why can't Deshaun Nix put up 25 DraftKings points tonight? That's
what I was bringing up too. Like all you need today for Deshaun Nix to be a good play, it really doesn't matter how many points Deshaun Nix scores. It matters how many points Seth Curry scores. And if you have Deshaun Nix and not Seth Curry in your lineup, and Curry scores 18 and Nix scores 20, you are going to be in such good position because of the amount of people who have Curry.
That's the difference between first and second place, or 10th and first place. Like 2 points is a big deal in DFS.
Well, we just we congratulated somebody earlier in the show for first and second was 75 grand. So yeah. Kelly Oubre, big time in play for me also on DK at 7,500. Love the discount we're getting there. I'm still playing him a ton on FanDuel. I can't stress enough. Like these 3 games to kick off tonight, this isn't the night to be fading the 7 o'clock games for what it's worth. I don't care how good the Brooklyn value is. I don't care how much Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton, I don't care how much ownership they should soak up. I'm telling you to your face in crunch time at the top of the show, these 3 games, Charlotte versus Detroit, Houston versus Indiana, Utah versus the Magic, these are 3 big games to kick off your night. This could very well be where all the tournament winning upside comes from, even outside of the Brooklyn value. Just wanted to put that out there. Okay, did see some people bringing up Crowder's name. Any interest, Chief? TJ, you said you got no Crowder.
Yeah, no Crowder. On DK where he's 4,200, I think that's great. FanDuel, he's 5K. You can still probably play him. Like, there's no Giannis. So, he's in play. He's definitely in play.
Okay. Let's see. Guys, we got about 15 minutes for some QQs. TJ, anything you want to add here? If not, we can dive into it.
No, I think we can start diving in.
All right, let's go. We'll start with, this is a good question. We'll start with Ball. Can you play both Sharp and Noel in DK Cash?
I don't think I would want to go Noel and DK Cash. No, there's just too many other better values today.
Okay. Steve-O talking about a minutes limit on Bridges tonight. Jacques Vaughn said it is probably not a full workload for Mikal Bridges tonight. Nets are starting Curry, Harris, Bridges, DFS, and Noel. So does that change anything?
Not really. So often, they just lie.
if that were true and we knew it would be true, yes. But like the coaches just straight up lie to our faces about this stuff. So nah, like I'm not really gonna. It's not gonna impact much for me.
Okay. Yeah, and sometimes they say like minutes limit, but they mean like 40 plus. It's not a minutes restriction. It's just if it were to go ridiculously far, they might not get 40. So I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
D Gold, I had this question as well. D Gold says, I can get to Steph Curry. Why not pay up for him? I feel like nobody talked about Steph Curry, and I feel like has the potential to have the highest scoring night of anybody on the slate.
I like Steph, but I think Halliburton and Fox have equal or more upside than Steph right now. And I could be wrong, and I'm willing to be wrong. I don't look. The Warriors have been terrible on the road. Like it's just so many things that I prefer to play Halliburton at home. I prefer to play De'Aaron Fox at home in what I feel like are going to be much more competitive games. Like this is a real thing. The Warriors it doesn't matter who they play on the road. They're awful. They've been so bad.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah. All right. D-Rock, DKGPP, Eason or Kelly O?
That was Eason for me because I saw they mentioned my name in there too, so I want to get it in. But like, my God, my animals are going crazy, so I'm going back.
They are, yeah. Which was that? I don't
go Eason because Kelly O 6K. Walker Kessler is definitely back today. That's going to hurt him a little bit.
Okay, very good. I've actually caught up on most of these questions. I'm jumping on over to the YouTube. By the way, if you like free content, all we ask is that you hit that thumbs up on the YouTube. So let's do it. Craig L says, in a GPP, is Goga too thin as a pivot on DK?
Yes.
Okay. Javon Watts says, you like Sabonis or Fox? I feel like you are heavily on the Fox train.
Heavily on the Fox train.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Here we go. DK Cash. TJ, ball pen drawing says 2v2. Markin and Tillman versus Triple J and Portis.
See, that's tough because I feel like the cash answer is probably Portis and JJJ because that'll be the higher owned side, but I really like Markkanen and Tillman better.
Okay. Flying Armbar says, which Brooklyn Nets value is a trap? Which of those guys are you most afraid of? TJ, you can go first.
Well, I mean, I don't know how much of a trap it is because he's not getting very high owned, but the one I'm looking to get to the least would be Joe Harris. And he'd probably be the one I think would closest to be the trap. But I guess no, the answer is Nerlens Noel on DraftKings.
Well, that was my answer. Nerlens Noel was my answer straight up. Like,
yeah,
he's the trap.
Okay, great. I am walking right into the trap. I'm just like, I have identified it's a trap, and I'm still walking directly.
Do you have Sharp in that lineup?
I do.
Oh, okay.
So maybe that's even especially dumb because it's a GPP. There's a question. Can you play them together in a GPP, or do they cancel each other out too much?
I don't think so they could both hit value, but they will never share the court at the same time.
Yeah. So, and even hitting value, like I'm trying to win a tournament. I'm not trying to hit value.
So yeah, I would not. No. Like I'm playing in I'm MMEing 4 different contests, 2 150 max and 2 20 maxes. So I have 340 lineups and I have 5% Noel.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. DK, this is a question from Brandon Bubba. DK under 65 hundo at the forward. Is Washington in play?
Yeah, I mean, I like that game just in general. Anybody in the Charlotte Pistons, Rockets, Pacers, Jazz, Magic, like I'm mostly in as long as they're going to play significant minutes.
Okay.
I think I like Draymond a little bit better between the two of them, but I do think he's in play.
Okay. DK GPP question for you. Chief, Kelly Oubre or Bane? Oh, okay. So I'm sorry. I think it's Kelly, Oubre or Bane. There was no punctuation. Looked weird, but
I'm taking Oubre over Bane tonight.
Okay. Scrolling. Rank your nets. Here's a good one. We'll call this a cash question. Sharp, Curry, Cam, DFS.
Can you go that one again? Sorry.
Yeah, rank the Nets: Sharp, Curry, Cam,
Oh.
Finney-Smith.
Cam, Sharp, Curry, Finney-Smith.
Okay, very nice. Javon Watt says, "Hey, who do we like from Orlando besides the center?"
Franz, I like Franz on FanDuel for sure. I've been mentioning the game, but Franz at 5,900, I like that a ton for what it's worth. I mean, this is going to be a good game for them. Utah plays zero defense.
Yeah.
And I think this game overall as a game is we've got some pieces, but this could be a shootout here. Franz is picking up ownership on FanDuel for what it's worth, around 30%. But I just want to point that out. He's a great play today.
Okay, excellent. Jumping back to the RG Discord, I got a little sidetracked there, but let's get into some of those QQs. FanDuel GPP Chief, this is kind of a game theory question. Would it be okay to leave salary on the table if I build with Fox and Brunson, and then if Brunson doesn't play, pay down to IQ?
Absolutely viable. I've won a FanDuel GPP with $1,100 left on the table and took down $100K.
Okay, well,
it's absolutely viable.
Yeah. Okay. Ball says, "Is Jalen Green a must in DK Cash?" I don't feel like he was even brought up, was he?
He is an option, but he's not a must.
Okay. DK GPP, Eason or Tillman, last man in, Chief?
Give me Tillman.
Okay. Cash question, Tillman v. Bagley. TJ?
Well, if you can, if that's straight up and you can afford Bagley, then it's Bagley. But if not, if it's point per dollar, then it's Tillman. But I guess that's probably FanDuel where they're closer in price. So I think I'd go Bagley.
Okay. Crossover King says, "Hey, TJ, sorry. This is, this is a Chief question. Do you like THT and Oubre or waiting on Knicks news, a.k.a. Barrett quickly if Brunson sits?"
THT Oubre.
Okay. FanDuel single entry, Cam Thomas and Fox or Eason and Holiday? Chief?
Cam Thomas, Fox.
Okay. Last piece, Harry Barnes, Murray, or Jabari Smith?
I'd go Jabari Smith.
Okay. Chief, do you have a different lean there? Barnes, Murray, Smith?
Smith is fine.
Yeah. Right. DK GPP, which guard would you fade to fit Fox out of these four guards? Curry, Thomas, Green, Holiday.
Curry for me.
Green
Which
for me.
which Curry?
Or Holiday for me, actually. Seth.
Yeah, probably Seth. Yeah.
It'd be probably Green for me or maybe Holiday.
Okay. DK GPP, Finney-Smith or Aldama? Last spot on DK. Finney-Smith. I'm not going to say it. I'll let you answer.
God. Can we just come up with something better? I'm not playing. Finney-Smith's awful. Like, if they're going to limit Mikal Bridges' minutes, why in the world we think Finney-Smith is suddenly going to pop off today? Like, he's terrible. For DFS, real life, He plays great defense, and he makes 2 threes a game.
That's it. He just doesn't. Because I'm literally saying this, it's going to bury me. But that dude just does not have DFS upside. Like, he does not have tournament winning upside. Can he score 35 fantasy points?
He shot 40% from the field 2 games ago and had 38 fantasy points.
All right. Well, fuck me.
You guys get what I'm saying, though. Like, generally speaking, Dorian Finney-Smith, like, if I just hit the X button on Dorian Finney-Smith every day, I'm going to come out ahead. It's basically what I'm getting at.
Yeah. All right. FanDuel Cash, 2v2. Halliburton, Bagley, or Rozier Markkanen?
Halliburton, Bagley.
Okay. FanDuel single entry, can you fade the Brooklyn value, meaning all the Brooklyn value?
No.
Believe it or not, I'm mostly fading. I'm debating whether or not I'm going to play Cam Thomas.
Okay.
That's where I am.
You're debating. if that's the only guy from there that you play, or you're playing other guys and you're debating if you're going to play him?
No, I'm debating whether or not Cam Thomas is going to be my last piece in. I don't need Brooklyn value to be successful tonight, so I'm going to try to fade all these guys that are getting all this ownership. But that's me though. Like generally speaking, they're great plays. Personally, I'm taking on the risk to try to hammer the field because I don't believe in all of them.
All right.
And see, that's what I like to do in these situations more often than not. When we have like a 30 to 40% chalk guys, I like to double it as opposed to getting underweight.
Okay.
Well, typically I will do that. How many questions we got, Roth? I think this is a good way to talk about. Okay. And I think TJ knows this. Typically, if I really think it's good value, I start hitting like lock buttons on these guys. However, with Brooklyn, like Thomas, Sharp, Sumner may get some minutes. Like I think I trust Cam Thomas the most because he's got the most, in my opinion, pure scoring. Like he could score 20 real points in like 20 minutes and get a couple rebounds and assists, and then he's there. Also, I think there's so much value in other spots too that maybe people just aren't playing, like some of these other 4K guys. Like I think Mo Wagner is a better value than all the Brooklyn value. But that's me. You get what I'm playing. So I've got the lock button on Mo Wagner today versus taking on all the Brooklyn risk. So we're doing the same thing, just we're allocating in a different spot.
I got you. All right. A few more questions here from the YouTube. Let's see. I love these questions. John just says, is this a mistake? We used to call this game, Am I Stupid? But is this a mistake is slightly kinder, so we'll stick with that. On DK, is this a mistake? Halliburton, Steph, Cam, Rozier.
Nope. Nothing wrong with
No.
Yeah, no mistake seen. Okay, very nice. DK Cash question, DFS or Jay Crowder?
DFS by a lot.
Okay. FanDuel Cash question from Darren. You want Sabonis, Sharp, Franz, or Williams, Bagley, Bain?
I guess the second one, but I feel like I'd want Sharp and Cash.
Okay. Did we discuss the Bain thing? Because didn't he put us on the Bain train? Like literally last night.
That was yesterday. This is today.
See, that's okay. But I feel like
that was yesterday, sir.
Yeah. All right.
So last game he shot 3 for 14, but the game before that he shot 12 for 22. Game before that 5 for 13, bad shooting day. Game before that 12 for 17, great shooting day. So if history tells us anything, he follows up a bad shooting day with a good one.
There you have it. All right. DKGPP, can you stack up Brooklyn, Milwaukee, or is there too much risk there?
Yeah, I think that's what almost everybody's going to be doing though.
Yeah. Chief, did you just find the winning piece there? You just made you made that noise that was like, ooh,
listen,
yeah.
My brain might have turned this thing, might have turned it on. I think I'm where I want to be now. Oh man.
Okay. All right. Well, now we know who's winning tonight. So don't be surprised when you see Chief taking down a tournament here. Taylor says, is Hayward okay as a last piece? I always land on that dude. I never want to play him. Is he okay as a last piece?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah. FanDuel Cash, Kenyon Martin?
As the last piece, it's okay, but I don't love it.
FanDuel single entry, any love for Buddy Hyde?
Sure. Good game environment. Look,
right.
I'll tell you why after lock. I'll tell you why I was so excited after lock.
Less than a minute until lock, by the way. Make sure you get all those lineups in and edited as you'd like. Carolina guy, FanDuel single entry, any... Oh, no, did that one. DK Cash, Markin and Thomas, or Halliburton, Finney Smith?
Markin and Thomas.
Very good. Very good. Coming up. DKGPP, Randall or Markkinen? I feel like maybe that's a question that revolves around Brunson.
I still like Markkinen. It's just a game environment.
Okay. All right. Did I ask the Kenyon Martin question? Scott said FanDuel Cash, Kenyon Martin. Okay.
It's okay as the last piece, but I don't love it. And yeah, kind of back to the Markkinen and Randall one. I'd go with Markkinen unless we got news that Brunson would be out before that Utah game.
Right. All right. Hey, we did hit the locks. Chief, you want to let us know what you unlocked?
So listen, what I was trying to do.
Oh, that's now.
What I was trying to do was fade all of the Brooklyn value outside of Cam Thomas. And I was also wanting to fade Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton tonight. Which, in a sense, if you think about it, it's like, well, God, that sounds like suicide. But it's really not on this slate because I was able to. So what I did, instead of me going the Brooklyn Milwaukee direction, I went kind of these mini game stacks between Charlotte, Detroit, Houston, Indiana, Utah, then the Magic, and then I was able to get in my boy De'Aaron Fox. So I think I can read this lineup off because we are at lot. Most of these guys play at 7. So I played Fox and Halliburton rather than probably because mostly what you're probably going to see is some combination of Seth Curry and somebody else, probably Drew Holiday. That's probably going to be top. So I got Fox and Halliburton, and then I'm playing Jalen Green and THT at shooting guard. This is FanDuel, where most people are probably going to play some combination of Middleton and somebody from Brooklyn, right? Like that's, or something to that effect. At small forward, I got Oubre because he was one of my favorite plays. I got Wagner, I got Livers, I got Williams, and I got Cam Thomas in. So all my guys are playing at 7 outside of Fox and Cam Thomas. So I went a slightly different direction with the value, which I told you I was going to play Wagner, but Isaiah Livers is going to be way different because everybody's playing Brooklyn value and not the other value. And then I pretty much just went double stud at point guard, hoping that both of these guys just nuked the mess out of this slate. So anyway, that's why I was excited because it finally came together.
Yeah, and it sounds like a very different build. Like it sounds very unique and low owned. So excellent work, man.
Yeah, well, Halliburton's 43% in this stupid single entry contrast, so I did not expect that. I'm shocked.
But I think people did a Halliburton or not a Halliburton and like the double pay up at point guard is going to make you really unique.
Yeah, Oubre 7%, Livers 3%. Like all you need is one or two like low owned guys, and everybody else can be chalky. I'm good.
Yeah. All right. With that, I think we can bounce on out of here. TJ's got more podcasts to host, more shows to watch.
Gotta talk about The Mandalorian now.
Oof. Yeah, I guess I'm going to watch it now. I guess I'm in on The Mandalorian. We are going to bounce on out of here. So for TJ, for Chief, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crunched.